Let's move on to step 2 of 5S implementation, and that is set in order. And here the focus of the team is to should have a dedicated storage areas for all workplace items. That is, any workplace item, it may be a small forklift or hammer, each item, each tool should have their storage space, plus it should be properly marked. So lots of importance is given to visual communication. The place is completely marked with stickers, maps, placards, signs are put on each and every tool, and even how they are used is explained using signs, right? So floor tapes are used. So basically a lot of importance is given to visual communication in this phase, right? So you have to create a comprehensive system of organization in this phase by finding permanent storage locations for every item and visually identifying their location. So when I say visually identifying their location, this means that wherever they place, they should be shown with stickers, signs that this thing is in this cabinet or this thing is at this place. So the focus here is a place for everything. Every item, a hammer, forklift, any tool should have a dedicated place of storage, because this eliminates wasteful searching. So many a times we have seen that in many factories, companies, workers are wasting a lot of their time just searching for the tool they require, or they do not know that where that particular tool is placed or stored. So when you just put a place, when everything has its place, the people know, the workers know that this particular thing is stored there or is shown with signs, so it saves lots and lots of time, and this just shows up and in the work atmosphere. Install modular shelves and cabinets. So to store your things, use modular shelves and cabinets. One very good example for this one is use of shadow boards. Now shadow boards are basically the boards, for example, if I have to keep this pen, so shadow board is something like this, and if there are various pens which are of small and big sizes, so it would have the it would have a cutout for this particular pen where only this pen will fit and no other pen will go on, right? So shadow boards are used to keep various tools so that the workers should know that after they finish their work, they have to place this particular thing at that particular place, right? So then non-essential items will continue to be discovered. Now once you are just searching, you are placing, you are storing everything, so then also you will find that you will discover certain new non-essential items. Now what to do? Again, as I have told you, it's a continuous process. So what you will do is that you will have to go back again to the sort phase. So you will just red tag those items and put them in the holding area. So this is a continuous process. It's not that once you are done with the first phase, you can't do it again. No, you have to keep on performing all the stages together, and then you have to review your storage once you have just put your storage in place. So team leaders must evaluate the existing facility visual communication to ensure new storage locations are properly labeled and accurately display their contents. Establish in-house labels and standards. Now first of all, your focus should be to follow the universally accepted signs for certain particular things. Now for hammers or dangerous things, there are certain signs which are understood universally, but for some things maybe your company is doing something which is not that universal, so you can just make your own signs and labels. So the goal is to provide uniformity and visibility to help workers. So basic goal of this complete exercise is that workers should have a complete visibility of the complete workplace. They should know that this place is there, and this would save their time and their work efficiency would increase. And follow first, as I told you, that try to follow national safety design standards. Only then, if you think that these are not appropriate, then you can make your own designs, own standards. But before just finalizing your designs and standards, first talk to your workers and educate them that whether they are comfortable using those signs, etc., they understand those signs, then just go ahead and implement those. In step 2, that is set in order, you have to take few things in mind. First one is the workflow. Now indicate workflow directions with signage. That is, if you can showcase how this workflow in the organization is going on, so indicate it using certain signs which everybody in your organization understands. place facility maps at strategic locations. So by facility maps I mean that a map which tells that what machine or which compartment or which department is at which place. So these maps should be placed at strategic locations. So by strategic locations here I mean the places where they are visible, they can be easily seen and understood. Provide signage to simplify instructions. So instead of writing down instructions, provide signs. So this would really help to help your employees to understand that what kind of instructions you are trying to give. Then comes procedures and inspections. So label electrical equipment for fast recognition. Now wherever there is an electrical equipment in your work area, it should be labeled so that people should know that here certain electrical equipment is there. Describe equipment operations with signage. Now if many people who are working in the companies, they would understand that there are signs everywhere for whatever machine, how it functions, but for the students who are new, who haven't visited a factory, so by signage I mean is that everything, that how a particular machine is operating, it's explained with signs. Now even if you unpack a new mobile phone, a new laptop, even if your small gadgets which you use, so they explain that how they can be assembled using signs, you know. Even if you just go in and order furniture online, so they will show that how it can be fixed. So that is explaining it with signage. Use electronic, keep labels consistent across work area. Now if you have labeled certain thing in work area, that maybe a particular tool, and then that tool should be labeled in the same way across the organization. So if you have marked this pen yellow, so everywhere where this pen is used, it should be marked yellow. So there should be a uniformity. Use electronic, visual and auditory alerts where beneficial. So now if you have a big organization and many people are working and this workflow is like very fast, so it's always better to use electronic or visual and auditory controls or alerts, because if there is certain problem at a place, so there should be a kind of a board which shows a red light or a sound which tells that there is a problem and it needs to be fixed. There is another tool which is known as Andon, which talks about all these things. And then comes inventory and material. So use modular shelving cabinets to improve organization. As I already told you, that try to just make the cabinets or try and custom make your cabinets according to your specific needs. For example, make shadow boards if you have lots of tools which look quite similar, but make shadow boards so that everybody knows that this particular thing should be at that particular place. Use flexible storage so changes are easy. Now when you just start implementing certain things, so there are chances that you make mistakes. So always your storage should be such that it should be flexible so that changes can be handled. Mark warehouse floors to show storage boundaries. Now to mark where you just mark the ways in the factories, if you have seen, or in the hospitals you see those yellow tapes are put on. There are many different kind of tapes, for example, which have tiger marks or some which are little glowing in night. So these are used to show storage boundaries. Clearly identify contents of pipes, walls, storage cylinders. So basically the purpose is that each and everything should be labeled, explained with signs. Identify new storage locations. Now if the workers are working, they have a normal routine, and once you start implementing 5S, you just shift the places where the things are stored. So then all these things should be just recorded in the logbook, so that each person should know that now where the thing has been stored. Ensure hazardous substances are properly marked. So it's clear that whatever things are hazardous or dangerous, they should be properly marked. Now that we understand the basic requirements for the second step, that is to set an order or Seiton, right? So now I'm just going to quickly go through all the steps you need to take to implement the second phase of the 5S, right? So the first step you need to check is to recheck to verify if all unnecessary items are eliminated from the workplace. So this is just a simple checking that if some things are still left, so just remove them or get rid of them. And then take into account the workflow, decide which things have to be placed where, right? So once you know, once you understand that how the work takes place in your office or in the factory, so that is a good criteria to decide where you need to place the things and how you need to store them. Take a before photograph. Okay, so there are two benefits of taking pictures. One thing, you have the records, and once you just start beginning that this thing is totally new and you just start implementing this 5S, so it would be really helpful for you to understand that what kind of incredible benefits this activity is going to bring, which you are just going to undertake. Even you will have help from your team leaders or from your workers, because they will understand that what was the thing, what was the place just looking like before and after you have performed this activity. So always take, for each phase, for the 5 phases, always take a before and after photograph. For example, once you start with the phase, take a photograph, and once you are done, then also take a photograph. So this will just show you, because pictures would tell you that what kind of changes have been implemented. Discuss with workers to decide where things should be placed for efficient operations. Obviously, people who are working, who use the tools, they are the better people, because their advice would be better, and it would really help you to place the things in a place where their operations are like for maximum or optimum use of those things. And then the criteria obviously is the same, that is the frequency of use. Wherever you are placing things, your files, your tools, so frequency of use, things required to perform the duty, that whatever things are required for a particular person to perform his duty, they should be near that person. And how many items are required. So if a person requires 10 things of a particular item, there should be 10, not less than 10. So you should be careful of all those things when you are placing these, placing the things to a new location or a new place. Make a plan and place things accordingly. Locate things so that they can be retrieved in a minimum time and minimum steps. Obviously, this is very clear. So if you want that you should have optimum operations, there should be no hurdles, then you should take care while placing or storing the things to new locations, that the placement should be such that if a person wants them, they should be retrieved in minimum number of steps and in minimum time. Inform everybody at workplace about positioning of the items. Obviously, the workers should know that where their tools have been placed. So this is very important. Make a clear list of items and their locations and display them. So once you're placing the things, you're storing the things, you're modifying the place, so create a logbook. I will show you how to do that. So just create a logbook with all the item names, their original position as of now, and where they have been shifted to, and then display these sheets in various positions, so that workers who are working, they should know that if there is certain doubt, they have a problem, they can always verify the new positions. So this is really helpful. Label lockers, drawers and cabinets. So once you're storing something, if you're keeping certain things, so you should just label them. For example, if a particular drawer has certain screws, nuts or tools, so that drawer should be labeled that this has 10 boxes of this particular thing and two forklifts and etc and etc. So best example which I can give you is if you've just gone to the medical stores or the medical shops where people buy medicines. So they place these things with the boxes with the name of all the medicines which are in that particular box. Otherwise, there would be total chaos. They can't give you a right medicine. So this is the way how they are doing this. They are performing a 5S in certain way. Outline locations, equipment, supplies, safety zones with lines. Now there are various lines which are used for various purposes in factory floors. If you just go to hospitals, you will find that there are certain lines which are used. For example, a divider line. So it defines an aisleways and workstations. So divider lines are used to define that which are the aisleways and which are the workstations. And then marker lines, these show the position of the equipment, that where the equipment has been placed. So marker lines are used to show that. Then comes range lines. These indicate the range of operation, that maybe if a door is opening, the range will show up, and if there is certain machine which works in a certain range, so these range lines are used to showcase the locations. Limit lines. These show height limits related to items stored in the workplace. Now if they are storing certain things, they are stacking certain things. So these are limit lines are drawn so that people should know that how much inventory is required. If it's less, then they will just make it optimum. So these are really helpful. And then the tiger marks. These are used to show safety hazards. So what is done is that arrows are used to show workflow. That is, there can be certain boards where you will see that how workflow is being performed or how work is being done. So it's used showing arrows, and then after you perform all this, just take an after photograph and save it with the logbooks. Now that you have an idea of the various steps you need to follow when you are just implementing this second step, that is Seiton or set in order. So I will show you how you can create a relocation logbook. This is very essential. Creating a relocation logbook will help you in two ways. Once you're just placing the things to their new locations, then it can happen that you may lose the information of certain tools, because then the things are just because there is an overhaul going on. And also this will help you because once you're just writing the information of all the tools and the places where they are being stored, so no information will be lost, no tool will be lost. And second, it's easy to educate the workers who are using those tools, because they can just refer to these logbooks and find out the places where the things of use have been placed, right? So if you can see, this is again a reference form B. As I have told you, I have created 5 forms for each of these 5 steps. So this is for this particular phase, that is Seiton. So what you can see is these are the reference steps. These I have just mentioned for you so that you can, once you are just implementing, you can always re-verify that whether you are doing the right things. And this is the place for the relocation logbook. So either you can download these forms, because I have just kept this places empty so that you can customize them yourself, or you can create your own. So here if you can see, this is the place for the item name, that whatever the thing is. For example, I have to just write the name, this is the remote for the projector. I have to store it somewhere, so I would write it that it's a projector remote, its uses, I need to operate the projector, and the new location or landmark or a position wherever I am storing it, I would mention it over here. So all the tools should be, names of all the tools should be mentioned here, the use and the place. So once you are just doing, you have just carried out with this step. So what you can do is that you can simultaneously just going to fill in this logbook, and then you can print it out and then place it on the various locations in your workstation, so that in case there is doubt or the workers need to find where the things have been placed, so they can easily refer to this logbook, right? So what you can see is this is again, and this is industrial sign and flow marking color code reference chart. So this I have just this you can also download it for your reference for the later uses, but I am just going to give you a brief overview of what it is. So basically it's for the facility and safety signage, like what colors are used and for which purposes, what purposes they are used. So the color and their meaning and their application. So red, we all know it's for danger or stop. So it's used at the places for stop, emergency stop, no entry, electrical panels, etc. And then yellow is used for caution. So this is used for tripping, falling or striking hazards, flammable warnings, etc. And orange is for warning, where you want to place a warning sign, for example energized equipment, cut, crush hazards, etc. Green, we all know, is for safety. Blue is used for information, where you need to provide any kind of information, use the blue color. And then X-ray, this yellow is for X-ray or any kind of harmful radiations. If you just go to the hospitals or the medical labs, what you can see is that yellow is used wherever there are radiations for its X-ray, alpha, beta, gamma, proton, or any kind of harmful radiation. And white is used for other. Now by other I mean if it's not a danger, caution, something which you want to tell but it doesn't fall under this category, so you can use white color. So same way there are certain color codes for floor and easel marking. Now when I talk about easel exactly is a place between the two rows. If you just go to the supermarket, you will see the shelves on the both sides, and the pathway in between is known as easel, and that is marked. And if you just go to the hospital or in big factories, these days they are just using these flow tapes to just mark these flow markings, easels, range lines. So there are various kind of tapes shapes available which you can choose according to your needs. For example, there are anti-skid, anti-slip, hard ones, or the glowing ones which just glow in dark. So you can choose them according to your requirement, and many companies also make them according to your customized needs. So if you can just see, yellow is used when they have to show easelways, traffic lanes or work cells, and white is used for production racks, machines, carts, benches and all other equipment that does not fall under any color guideline. And then red is obviously it's for defects, scrap or red tag areas. Orange is used for materials or product inspection, energized equipment warnings. And then blue, green and black, this color is used together, that is green, blue and black. It is used for raw materials, work in progress, finished goods. And then red and white hazards is used for areas to be kept clear of safety, for safety reasons. And again then black, white hazard is used to be areas that have to be kept clear for the safety reasons. And then there are black and yellow lines. These are used to designate areas that present special physical or health risks, right? So you can just download this this color code chart and you can just keep it for your reference if you're just going to implement this 5S. And then I would like to show you the example for the shadow boards. As I've told you that once you're setting things in order, try to, if you're try to clear out the floor space for other purposeful uses. So what you can use is that you can use these shadow boards, and these shadow boards are for cutting dies. So if you can see there, these are cut according to their shapes. So once they have to be placed, they can be easily placed, so they can be stored properly. So these are the boxes, but you can also get the ones which are hanging on the walls. So the same thing is done. Now if they have to store this stick, so they will if there are various sizes sticks, so there are cutouts for each particular strip and they just hang on the wall. So they take minimum space and they are very useful, because once you have to store, the workers know where they have to place the things, right? So it becomes very customized. So in this way you can implement this step 2, that is set in order, for this 5S implementation.